And that's the sentence that instigated what I said earlier of like, maybe I'm kind of done with this. I'm certainly burned out of this. This person has not followed through on anything for months. You got a pretty big kick out of working in fitness, personal training, and working in strength and conditioning at the high school level, and building a group of people, a club, if you will, centered around training for powerlifting meets. But still, to this day, it would be not unlikely you'd hear me claim that one of my current jobs is still one of my favorite of all time, and that job is a building caretaker at the apartment complex where I live, a janitor. So I just said that I worked 20 some years or whatever in fitness as a personal trainer, having fun, hanging out at the gym, helping people. And I then also said that my favorite job in my life is a glorified janitor. Now, part of that is it's super flexible, super easy, super accessible, no commute, just where I live. The hours are manageable, etc., etc. But it doesn't come with the frustrations of in earnest dealing with people. It's clearly picking up after people. It's one of those jobs, it doesn't show you the worst of people, but it does show you the lamest of people. And frankly, personal training was kind of that way too, you know. They come in excited about something, they've got doctor's orders, they know for a fact being healthier, lighter, whatever is going to be a good thing. They're going to pay the money to have you help them, they're going to pay the money, all of these indicators that they're going to go and do the thing, and then they don't. Or they manage certain pieces, okay, they've got a head of steam in the beginning and then they fall off. One of the primary examples that popped into my head recently was one of the last conversations I had around the time where I realized, man, I might be done with this, at least in the current capacity. I was doing it like full time in a big box fitness facility, etc. It was sitting on a bench with my next client of the day, gonna go, all right, let's wrap up how the week went and how the month's going and the things we've been working on, how's all that going, right? This is kind of how we would start a lot of the sessions. Just a couple minutes of wrapping things up before we started moving. Speaking of moving, I better do a set here. Just a quick 5. Wonder if you can hear my hip popping in the audio. So anyhow, this is week 5 or 8 or probably week infinity of having this conversation, knowing full in hell well what's coming. And what's coming is me asking about A, B, and C, because, you know, that's what we had talked about the previous week or 2 weeks before or what have you. And having the client give me X, Y, and Z. Well, I read something about this and I decided that, and my body was really feeling this way, that way, you know. Again, just week infinity of I didn't bother. Or maybe I couldn't, like, in fairness. I'm not trying to shit on people, but like, yeah, I didn't really do what we talked about having me do last week, last month, this past 6 months, etc., etc. Just wildly, wildly frustrating, you know. And that was pre-2020, pre-being forced to sit down, shut up, stay home, and realize that, man, I think I'm actually done with this. I'm kind of burned out on seemingly being more invested in this person's project than they are. Certainly putting more effort, time, and active thought into it. And again, it's not just dumping on people, but it's like if you have 1 or 2 small things to work on, you need to think about it a couple, 3 times a week. Go to the gym, repeat what we did, whatever it might have been. And then to just goose egg week after week, or get on a roll for a few months, which again, human nature, I get it, but just exponentially more frustrating than I ever would have guessed it to be. And in the broadest sense, there's 2 versions of personal training that exist. Just generalizing, like there's the assembly line version. Somebody walks in, I make them sweaty and tired, they leave. Somebody else walks in, I make them sweaty and tired, they leave. And then there's like, all right, let's have some conversations, let's set some goals, use some documents, Google Docs and Google Excel to create programs, to list out monthly objectives, and we'll sit down at the start of a session when you're here in person and recap what happened. And it's much better just leaning in on actively supporting someone through behavior change when the person is willing to apply themselves, sounding like a disappointed parent here, and buy in and start to make some of these changes a daily choice and a lifestyle overall. It's really fantastic. But the bad version, which is dramatically too big a percentage of the time, is me, the trainer, thinking about you and your project a lot, or the client and their project a lot, and making it a regular priority. I mean, I remember having notes in my phone to text certain clients every day. Hit the gym, how'd the cardio go, did you log your food, etc., whatever the objectives would be. And that's an energy that was never actually matched by the person who wants what they're here for. And if it was some short period of time. And again, human nature, we're all kind of sad and broken, I guess. We accept this as normal, but man, was that pretty frustrating and just like disheartening in a broader context. So yeah, I mean, my favorite job ever, and I had a couple really awesome ones. Again, running a weight room after school at a high school, essentially running strength conditioning programs for high school athletes, or at least contributing to them, and hanging out at a big box fitness center, talking about bench press technique and stuff with people. Like, that's all really cool, but like net results wise, I go home after this workout, I clean the entranceway of my building, I vacuum the first floor, tidy up the elevator lobby, do some windows. Springtime, we're doing outsides of windows again. It's gonna be nice and clean. I mean, for 35 minutes till some jabroni drags some mud through there, but like, I can say that what I did made the building clean. Need a master's degree for that. Satisfaction was simple, we just complicated it, I guess. A couple of 15s. Ho ho ho, look out. Lunges are as much a big toe stretch for me as anything. Weird lack of toe mobility, especially as I get older. Ooh, that's tender. It's not the work, it's the supporting structures sometimes. I hesitated to say it, just trying to be nice, but in that conversation, I'm sitting on a bench next to the gal, the client I was referencing earlier, and I'm just exhausted as I'm 90 seconds into hearing this rigmarole, trying to justify why she didn't do the thing we both agreed she would do, like go and apply this, even try it. Like, I don't care about you trying something new and failing, but like, you didn't even bother, you just moved on to other distractions, just chasing some informational dopamine hit instead of like following through on the plan you paid me to put together. And she has the audacity to say, I feel like you're just checked out lately, these last few weeks. And that's the sentence that instigated what I said earlier of like, maybe I'm kind of done with this. I'm certainly burned out of this. This person has not followed through on anything for months, behavior change wise, relating to, in this case, it was a weight loss goal. And there's a client that was good about a lot of stuff, lifting the weights and doing the thing when I'm standing there with her. But then has the come to Jesus moment with me where she's like, you know, my real actual goal, this is all good and I know it's part of the weight loss, but my real actual goal is weight loss. So then we burrow down and we start to work on, all right, let's keep the fundamentals we've got in place and let's start working on other stuff. And then that other stuff never happens. And then again, they have the audacity to say to me that I'm checked out. Yeah, I'm checked out. I'm bored with you, with this, disenfranchised with the whole thing, and sort of embarrassed for you that not only are you unable to act upon what you're claiming you want to act on, but now you're trying to transpose it onto me. It was just a ridiculous moment. And again, a couple years before 2020, which was the big shutdown that caused me to really reconsider what I was doing and reconsider my energy and my interest. But man, it's interesting to see those early data points of what sort of was forced upon me in 2020, which was I'm burned out and I want out. Which is a tough moment, but it was a good moment, despite everything at the time, you know.